Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Monday, Memorial Day. Time to remember our veterans. I hope everybody's having a great extended weekend. Thanks for joining us here. Okay, so we're going to go through SPX on our weekly time frame. We're going to go down to the daily and check out the options expected move. I will send out, I didn't think about it, but I'm going to send out the options expected move to the $4.99 a month members to you after this video, and then I'll post it on here if you are interested. I'll do that afterwards. I usually do it before. Didn't think about that. So just taking a second out of the family time, and we were playing some grass volleyball. We're going to play some sand volleyball later today. So I hope you're doing the same. All right, cooking out and all that good stuff. We have SPX on the monthly time frame, and the reason why we're so bearish is, first of all, evaluation. We went over that last week. I'm not going to do that again, but the market is an extreme evaluation zone. It came out of it somewhat and is back into it. And so that's one of the major reasons why we're so bearish on this market, even though it's holding up really well, right? So that's giving us a hint that things are going to turn around. And the exuberance is insane, and that's going to reset. It always does. And the other reason is because of the charts. Let the charts tell us what it's doing. We have these historic highs from 1929 going into 2000, and we have confluence with the 2008, 2022, and we rejected right off of it. Just a beautiful chart there. And so we're going to focus on what the market tells us afterwards. And I have this zone here. We want to keep this zone in mind. It's the most important zone that we're going to have in this near term, being 5,750. I know it's a 100-point zone, but it's a big zone. But in the scheme of things, it's very small, and we'll reflect that on the monthly and the weekly. And so 5650 would be the bottom of that zone. So let's see how price reacts to that. Here is the 8 EMA. That's our momentum indicator on the monthly time frame, on all time frames, but on the monthly time frame, you see it's at, if I highlight it over on the right, you can see turquoise. That's at 5,727. That's exactly where our zone is. So this is going to show up on all of our charts. So if we get underneath this 8 EMA and continue to break down, obviously we have the 20, which is our trend indicator. The trend is still up, so have some work to do, but let's see if this monthly candle can hold. We have this last week here. See if the monthly candle can hold underneath the 8 EMA. So another reason why we've been so bearish is we're also getting this monthly time frame bearish crossover. All right, so we're going to close the month, and we're going to have this. We already had last month start us off at the histogram red. Let's see if we get follow through here with the red histogram as well. Everything else is curled. We're back in the neutral zone for RSI. But you notice even after this big move, we're just back to neutral. That's it. What's the DMARC have to say? So the DMARC, we're in the sequence. It's going to take a long time for this to play out. We're still at 1, 2, 3, and I think we're going to play all the way out to a 9 count or more. Okay, so we're just getting started in this. Let's continue to watch. Let's go over to QQQ. Let's do SPY. So no. Let's just go through the Qs because it's we're shortening this video up a little bit. So notice we're at this pivot here. It's not a valid trend line because there's only 2 touches, and so we're pretty much just trading around this pivot. Let's see what happens in the future. We can look at the OptionsTender setup here. The MACD got in this tight range here, broke down from it. On the slow stoke, we already have a crossover in the MACD. So same thing. Let's go IWM. We're just going to get a visual on some of these. All right, playing out well. We had our new high here. I think this is an A, expanded B, and we're going to get a C wave that brings us much lower here and probably test the lows of the Corona crash. SMH. SMH looks like it has an ABC in. There's a couple ways you can count it, or it's an AB, and we're looking for a 5-wave move down. That's kind of the same situation, but the same thing. We're going to look for much lower prices here. And I did a video for, I think it was for members, but just to show you this product here. And I did the MAG 7 for the MAGs ETF for individual stock analysis members. Again, it's $4.99 a month. It's not a whole lot to ask. It's just to support the channel here in the time that I put into these charts. And so when SMH was a new product here back in 2000, you can see that everybody wanted in on this and it just tanked. So I gave a bunch of examples of, a few examples of other products, including the MAGS, the MAGs, representing the Magnificent 7. Now it's gone up a little bit, but I think it's going to end up just like all of these ETFs that come out and retail piles into them, and then it just washes everybody out and then says goodbye. Then I think it's going to look something like this afterwards. All right, and so looking at this huge volume node here, we're just rejecting off of that. So you can see that a lot better in the monthly time frame when you have the weekly candles that close above, but the monthly, you can start to see wicks on there. So it really helps to zoom out every once in a while. And I don't think price is going to get over this. So you better believe that analysis we did yesterday on NVIDIA, you better believe it's going to be very difficult for even that big name to get price over this volume node. I think we're going to reject right off of this. DIA. So again, I left this here. Really, it's just a pivot. It's not really a good trend line. You could argue that this is a point here, but you see prices having a hard time getting back above it. We're rejecting off of it with a wick, and again with that that resistance here as well. So, this is the prior consolidation area that marked a top in distribution, and so that's why price is having a difficult time getting back above. So, what the chart to me is telling us, all of these charts, it's just we're at a top. We're at a top, and we're back testing, and we're going to continue to head lower. If you look at that nice wick here. We're in a rising phase here in our cycles. You can see higher highs and higher lows here. At least the higher lows are very significant. And I do think we break out from this big old consolidation area sooner than later. Let's go back to SPX and we'll check out things from the weekly time frame. Okay, while we're looking at these higher time frames, I want to tell you that the structure has still been positive, and I've left this on here each and every week. It's positive, and we're just now getting a reversal. Okay, so we really need to break these lows in order to change this into a negative configuration on the higher time frames. Now, when you go to the daily, you can see lower highs, the higher lows, that trend there, and then you have the trend that's up. Those are individual trends on the lower time frames. So, but on the higher time frames, we have a high here, a higher low, and then what we're looking for at this point is a lower high. All right, and again, if price is able to hold this zone that we're continuing to talk about, 5,750, 5,650, if we hold that zone, then and price gets back right up here at 6,200, we're right back at those historic highs. I'm okay with that. It doesn't mean we're wrong about our higher time frame analysis. We're looking for a top. And so if this is actually just a wave 4 into 5 here, then we start our recession after that. It doesn't change anything for us here. All right, so on the weekly time frame, we'll pull up our moving averages. And we're above the 850 and the 20. This is going to be so important. Remember, I keep saying this 20 simple moving average on the weekly time frame is key. Now they're coming together here. So if we break this zone, notice this is the entire zone. I'm going to highlight these individually. So there's 5690 for the 8 EMA. there's 57.28 for the 50 moving average is right in our zone, and 57.54. This exactly where our zone is. That's why it's so important. And we weren't even making this, argument before. We were on the lower time frames all week long talking about this. Now we can see it from the bigger picture on why it's so important. All right. And plus we have a gap here as well. And gaps don't really, on a weekly time frame hold for very long. This is a weekly gap here. All right, so that's gonna close, and I think it's gonna close possibly this week. And we'll see what happens after that. All right, so DMARC. We had the 9 exhaust here on this move down here, and we're getting up to a 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will probably break down, but we'll see. Maybe we get a 9 count all the way up. We'll just continue to monitor. Awesome. And so we're still in the bear zone here, and we're getting to that neutral state. We have a green histogram. So that's changing things to neutral to positive there. But if this rolls over, nothing, it's just a continuation of the bear market. We have plenty of room to the downside for the market to have momentum lower. We got into the overbought territory when we closed this positive week here. Now you can consider this as a tweezer top. And even if we gap down, we gap down here and continue, anything's possible. And we're rolling over on the slow stoke. So things are starting to, I think, continue to the downside. And after a move like this, if this is a 1-2 setup, at this point, there's not going to be bounces this deep. All right. We're going to follow the trend. If we get under those moving averages, we're going to follow and let the chart tell us what's happening. Right now, it's in a positive configuration. So we can't really, other than evaluation. And again, we're coming off of historic tops here. If that wasn't the case, then there's nothing you could argue that is negative at this point. Let's go to the Qs. Let me go here, change the board, get a different visual. So there's that resistance. That's the distribution zone as well. And we're back underneath it. All right. And when I was talking about, prices, the targets in the Discord, people think I'm crazy, but this is our third wave. So I had to adjust this because price went a little bit higher. And if this is really a 1-2 setup, then we're looking at wave 3 likely getting into this volume node right here at about 38.50. That's approximate because I didn't use the exact numbers here. And so we're looking for a big move to the downside, literally 2,000 points lower. I mean, if you've traded through 2000 or 2008, I didn't trade through those, but I lived through them. You'd see that the market can be relentless to the downside and a big reset. That's all the market does, is it resets. And that is going to come sooner than later. Okay, so again, we talked about the moving averages. That's right in our zone. Let's go over to the Qs. Leave the moving averages on. Same thing, those moving averages are coming together. We're looking for a big move. I don't want to forget there's that pivot we're talking about. Price gapped over the pivot. Let's see what happens, how we react to that. SMH. Just give a weekly look here. And that rising wedge broke down from it. And really, we're just rejecting off the 50 moving average here. So again, we'll see what happens. We're at support. We can break down from that point, and really our next zone on the weekly time frame is right back here to the 200 area. Could be a left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I don't know. We'll see. Pretty ugly look there, but okay. And IWM is a little bit more bearish looking, and The reason is, first of all, here's the visual. We had this consolidation area, so that creates support and resistance, and we're just right back at that resistance right there. So that's a highly likely place that the reversal is happening from here. The 20 trend indicator, where the trend is still down. IWM is the weakest one so far, and I think the 5-wave move is in here. We retraced 50%, and we're looking for 3, 4, and 5. So really, IWM could be the leader here and represent the recession, and we'll probably bottom first, you know, so we'll keep an eye on this. I think we're already starting wave 3. DIA, same thing with that pivot. We're looking at that rejecting. Yeah, we had a possible channel here that we're holding here. If we start to break through that, and here's our next zone to break through. That's the former highs there. VIX. The weekly time frame. On the daily, we've been talking about this whole zone for quite some time. That's just a real basing zone here. And there's your uptrend right there. So you had your downtrend, uptrend, and we're just holding these levels really well. All right, that's going along with our 50 moving average on the weekly. So things are getting tight here. Start to break above, set up. Maybe it comes back down to test the 200 again and the 50, and then off to the races here. So it's a really positive configuration, and we have the weekly lows here. And I think that weekly low is in, and we're in this positive cycle right now on the weekly time frame, and that's going to be bad for the market. All right, so let's complete this. Let's check out the daily time frame on the SPX, and we have the McClellan summation index. Here's our weekly wedge. That wedge broke down. I think we'll probably, since we're in the zone already, I think we'll probably back test. I know I have this zone marked here. That's a highly dangerous zone if price gets down from there. So that's the top of what I was talking about, 5650. By this time, the market's going to be holding on by a thread. The only thing that the market is going to be holding on at that point is the 50 moving average. So, you know, although I have this as the zone up here, right here, if we get under this, it's goodbye, in my opinion. Well, some people say, what if that's a 1-2? Sure, we're going to work that scenario if price moves a lot lower. We can never predict exactly what price wants to do, but we'll see. And then we'll have another zone down here. So we'll play the zones as they come, but this is the only thing. If price gets down here, that's the only thing that's going to be holding the market. All right, but here's our moving averages coming together, the 20, 200, 100. That's right in the zone. That's the top of the zone, as a matter of fact, 5750 to 5650. So we're breaking down. So we have a sell signal at this point. We're underneath the momentum, but we're going to squeeze here for a second. Maybe this week we get a doji for the week, and then we continue. We're not going to have a whole lot of volume in here, so we'll see what price tells us. McClellan summation. So we're starting to roll over. Breadth is in the positive area. What we're going to want to see if price is going to continue back up to these historic trend lines, we're going to want to see it hold this gray zone here, the bull bear pivot. All right, so you want to see it roll over, maybe on any pullback, or just like I said, the top of the zone, continue into extreme bullish area, and then that would be an excellent short, objective short again if price does that. I'm not in that camp. I think this was an expanded leading diagonal. We're getting a wave 2 and a wedge. I think that wedge is already broken down. Now we have to see if our zones, especially this gap right here that we've been talking about, is going to break. What else can we show here? MACD is getting ready to roll over. We might have, I don't think we have any red yet. So we'll see if this week we have any weakness, then this is going to roll over. And again, our momentum is going to head lower. So we're already pretty weak here on the RSI, getting into bear territory, and the slow stoch is heading lower. All right, so the options expected move for the week. I draw these in. I have a video on how to do it if you're interested. These options expected moves, the options market has a huge influence on the overall market, and you know, these moves just tell us so much information. When you're in a positive configuration, you know, you start off the week with the white line, and price gaps up and goes to the options expected move. All right, price starts here in a positive, it makes it right to the options expected move. Again, here the week started, boom, got up to the options expected move. It's insane how good it shows. Now you have your standard deviations, and so price continued past the options expected move on this one, but you know, that's we have expectations of how far the market can move. And this week it's 127 points. That's great tradable. So what I suspect on the lower time frame, I think we have about a 5-wave move done here. So we could see a little bit of a floating bounce into this short week. And then at least by next week, I would expect a continuation. And again, if we hold these zones, especially that 200 moving average, then we're going to want to see price go to new highs, and we'll short it again. You see how good the 200 is. The price worked its way back on it here, and it held very well, held below. And now you want to see price hold. Really, if it does get below, close the gap, you want to see it crawl back onto, zoom back onto that 200 and continue higher. All right, and that would be a wave 4. So we talk about that in the lower time frames. I'm not going to go through that one more time. So there's your options expected moves, the exact numbers. And now I'm going to get this video out to you, and I'm going to go ahead and send out the options expected move to the $4.99 YouTube members. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you. Enjoy your day.